What is up, interwebs?
Hey, bitches!
Big Lou here, my darling sister Leanne. Game of Thrones, Season 7, Episode 7, Dragons and Wolves and Ravens, oh my.
No, the title was not that. The title was...
It wasn't?
The Dragon and the Wolf.
And the walls come tumbling down.
Holy shit.
Crap. This was a very long episode. This episode was right at, I think, 83 minutes, something like that.
It was.
And it was...
I would say, honestly, though, only a couple of big surprises for me.
Really?
Yeah. Because I felt like so much of it was things that needed to happen to set up what we had predicted was going to happen in Season 7.
Yep.
Like, oh, who's surprised that Cersei pulled some bullshit? Nobody. So let's just dive right in to the very beginning.
With all the
lining up of the troops.
all the King's men. Had some great moments in there between...
No, the best of that moment was, maybe it's all just about Cox.
Of course. The line of the episode belongs to Bronn.
Because it is.
It always belongs to Bronn, and you're
Yeah.
right, it is. It's not, they're all about the cock.
Yeah, pretty much. So, okay, everybody's... let's measure our dicks and see how big our armies are.
Before we get our tape measures out, just overall, knee-jerk reaction, scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied were you with how this season ended, with this finale? Scale of 1 to 10.
I'm going to give it an 8.5.
That's about where I'm at as well. There were some things that I wanted to see happen going into the final season.
Most specifically, I think, related with Jon's character.
No, actually, more...
That was mine.
More going along the lines of stuff that we didn't see happening with Cersei. And some of the battle between the houses. I really wanted some...
A little more drama there?
Well, not necessarily more drama, but I was expecting more conclusions going into this season, or ending this season, so that we could focus on the Great War, the War for the Dead.
See, I think
next season.
Cersei's never going to take one for the team. She's never going to be the bigger person.
No, and I didn't expect her to, but the way that they played the story out with them trying to...
That it still continued into next season, that you're fighting a two-front battle.
It surprised me a little bit. But other than that, I thought this episode was incredibly satisfying.
It was very satisfying. Okay, so first cryptic moment. That scene in the Dragon Pit, when you've got death face off to death face off, and death face off to death face off, and mortal enemy to I mean, I think pretty much every pair of mortal enemies was lined up across the field from each other.
Even before that, the tension that you had when it was just Tyrion and Jon and Brienne and all the major hero players, but no Cersei.
Yeah.
There was a little smidge of me that was like,
okay, where's the wildfire?
Where's the wildfire? Exactly. Yeah, it was.
First cryptic moment. That scene with the Hound?
And the mountain? Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was about.
You know who's coming for you. You always have known.
Is he talking about himself?
I mean, that is the most obvious answer, but with Game of Thrones, it seems to never be the obvious answer.
See, and I think that because of what has happened to the mountain, and now the Hound is having visions from the Lord of Light, I think he was talking about the Night King is coming for the mountain, because technically, the mountain's a walker.
Yeah, he really is.
And I think maybe once the Night King gets within a certain
he clicks on his autopilot clicks over. We'll see.
Well, we will definitely see. That is definitely something to be aware of.
Yeah, so. The speech that Tyrion gave was adequate, but we all knew that the speech wasn't really going to be whatever the catalyst was to whatever lies Cersei was going to tell.
Yeah.
I will say, once that shit came out of its cage...
Oh, my God. There was a part of me...
genuine fear.
In Cersei's eyes, for sure. But there was a little part of me that was like, it was all going to be for naught. He was going to kick the thing over, and it was just going to...
No, he kicked it on the boat. It was still snarling and shit.
And I get that, but it still would have been...
Like a penguin or a polar bear in too warm a climate?
Yeah. Yeah, something. Just kind of...
No, it had to happen.
Yeah, no.
Because even though it didn't convince Cersei to take her head out of her ass, it convinced every other person up there.
Including Jaime.
Especially Jaime.
Most
importantly, Jaime. I will say Cersei and Uncle Euron played them like a fiddle.
Uh-huh.
I would even go so far as to say his little outburst at the beginning was even part of their choreographed dance.
For sure it was.
To prove the point that I'm a reckless asshole that only has my own interest at heart.
Yeah.
And then when I see shit... they clearly could not have known, I bet they'll bring a zombie down here. But at some point, they had, I'm sure, arranged for him to just...
Storm off in a huff.
Yeah. I'm taking my dollies and my buggies and I'm going home.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think he did it fantastically, choosing how he did it. To great effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps it is arguable that the scene of the episode was Cersei and Tyrion.
I absolutely agree with that. Their interactions is something that has been stewing since even before Tywin died.
But that being said, I didn't see as much bitter, acrid. She put in her one-liners.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
But then, is she that good of an actress to put on the performance for Tyrion?
Lena Headey's an amazing...
No, I'm not talking about her.
I know, you meant Cersei.
I meant Cersei.
Yeah.
Because she...
Boy, how meta is that?
Right? Like, she had to convince him that he had convinced her.
Yeah.
And to your point... The fake pregnancy...
I think she's pregnant.
Yeah, but wouldn't that also serve her purpose? That would be the one thing that convinced Tyrion that she's serious about teaming up with them. Because she wouldn't do it for herself. Because she made that, I didn't see anything. I didn't see houses. I didn't see anything. When that thing opened its mouth, all I saw was my family, and I'm ever so conveniently rubbing my belly subconsciously.
Yeah. Because
if she really was pregnant, is she really that willing to be like, peace out, Jaime, fuck off?
Yeah.
I think that's who she's become.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I absolutely think so. And the look on her face when he turned and left was...
Well, we're jumping ahead. You mean Jaime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, you had mentioned that. But yeah, no, we were jumping ahead there a little bit. So... For
sure. That whole line, if it weren't for me, you'd have a mother. If you weren't for me, you'd still have a father. If it weren't for me, you'd still have your children. If it weren't for me, you'd have... I still think that even though her performance had a deceitful intention, I still think that the emotion on both sides was very real.
Oh, absolutely. And the look of intensity in Tyrion's face when he just told her, go ahead, have him do it. And he looks at the mount and says, what are you waiting for? Do it.
Yeah.
And when she blinks, the look of relief in Tyrion was just like, oh my God. And he went right for the wine, which...
Obviously. Who doesn't need a fucking glass of wine after that? But at the same time, no one was fooled by Cersei.
Not even a little bit.
I've decided to do the right thing. We skipped one scene with Dany and we'll come right back to it. But I believe her effing quote was, I promised to help. You should all remember I promised to help with no promises from you. Go fuck yourself, Cersei.
Go fuck yourself, Cersei. Exactly.
Darkness is coming for us all. I like, what?
I said it.
Go roll on a peanut, as my grandmother would have said.
She would have said that. I said this during the episode, and I'll say it now. I don't trust that bitch.
No. But at the same time, like, you still have to say, what are you fighting for? If they lose, what are you fighting for?
She doesn't care.
Clearly. But that's the part that makes me think maybe she really isn't pregnant.
Isn't? Yeah. Yeah. She is fighting just because it's all she knows.
I guess.
it's so ingrained in her to hate these people that that's all she has.
Well, and then we can go like super Freudian psychoanalysis that she really just hates herself.
Well,
she hates all the world.
Yeah.
Herself. She just is a miserable person.
That she is.
Okay, so I think that I should get... I had some predictions that were proven wrong this week, but I should get this one as proven right. I believe I said, oh, what, you can't have kids? Why? Because an evil witch told you that you couldn't?
Yeah. That moment
that was a great line. And John goes, who told you that? And she's like, the witch that killed my husband? Oh, really? The witch told you that?
I love his response. It's, maybe that's not the most accurate of sources or whatever it is that he said. How he said it much better than I just did.
Whatever he said.
But again, we had that great moment between the two of them talking about, you know, how magnificent the dragons were and what they had become. And you don't really get a sense of that little bone fragment that they're passing back and forth.
That was his skull?
It was a jaw.
Yeah, jawbone of one of the little deformed
one dragons. Of the small little rat dragons or whatever it was.
Well, the line she said is a dragon's not a slave.
Yeah.
You put it in captivity and it withers.
It's like the Shamu thing falling over.
Yes, that's exactly the same thing.
It's the same concept.
You're right. Captivity squashes the spirit. Good job.
I still want to go to SeaWorld.
Well, you do that then. So, I have really enjoyed, over the last several episodes, the piece-by-piece building and layering of Danny and John's relationship.
It has been very meticulously timed.
And also, they're walking a thin line.
Yeah.
Because it's not like we haven't seen an ancestral relationship before, but it was Jaime and Cersei who were characters that we hate anyways.
Yeah.
You know, Jaime goes back and forth on the hate you scale, but it was a relationship that we were supposed to find disgusting.
Yeah.
So they're towing a hard rope here, which is to try and convince us, oh yeah, uncle and nephew or aunt and nephew, that's not creepy at all. I totally want them to do it because I really did want them to do it.
Me too. I blocked it out that they're and they did, and we'll get to it eventually as we're talking, but they did a really good job of not making any of us forget.
Well, duh. But we're jumping ahead.
We'll get to that. So, I also loved when John told everybody that he had pledged allegiance to Danny.
Yeah.
And the look on Jorah and Tyrion and Varys and
everyone's like, "Are you a fucking idiot?"
Yeah,
dude?
it's like, dude, stop talking. It's like your drunk buddy at the bar. It's like, yeah, okay, we're gonna get our number, and then he's like, well, I just happened to block. It's like, stop talking, dude. Just shut up. But I loved how he recognized, like, after it was all said and done, he turned to I think he was talking to Tyrion, and he said, I know, you're gonna tell me I'm too much like my dad. I get it.
Yeah.
But
the line that he said was, lies won't help us win this fight. Which is true.
It's great.
But you said during the episode, which is interesting, are there more people that know about Jon's true heritage?
I think Tyrion knows.
Well, if Tyrion knows, the argument could also be made that Cersei does, because her line was,
the son of Ned Stark would not betray me.
Yeah.
Or I could trust the word of the son of Ned Stark.
Because clearly she wasn't going to trust his word either way.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah. The phrasing was not lost on me at all. So.
But how would they know? Where would that knowledge have come from?
Well, Tyrion gets his knowledge from drinking.
So he didn't have a vision in a bottle of wine. I'm saying, like, how would they have acquired that knowledge? Because I've always thought Littlefinger, may he not rest in peace.
And we'll get to that. Gorgeous.
I've always thought Littlefinger knew, and it's possible as the, Keeper of the Whispers that he had clued them in at some point. We'll get to it. Okay. The scene with Sansa and Littlefinger.
Loved it.
It was brilliant.
It was such a huge misdirect. It was fantastic.
It was Sansa's greatest performance.
I absolutely agree.
Hands down.
Yeah. What was it Vader said to Obi-Wan when last we met? I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Yeah, pretty much.
Sansa even said it when she was in a couple of scenes later. She said, "Thank you for your guidance, Lord Baelish.
Thank you for your lessons.
The lessons. That's what it was.
Your
lessons. Yes.
I'll never forget them.
Never forget them."
She pulled some Jedi mind trick bullshit on him, didn't she?
Fantastic.
And I will apologize. I will apologize to Aya. Perhaps it's just a sign of her. But unless you had undoubtable faith in the strength of their sister bond, which, as you said, when you go back and watch the early seasons of them actually being in a room together.
Well, and see, that's the thing. I watched the pilot this afternoon, and in the pilot, they are so different.
Yeah.
But they're not even in a... Okay, they had the one scene in the pilot where they're at the big banquet for Robert Baratheon.
And she's throwing shit at her.
Yeah, she throws like food at her or whatever. And it's like, that's how they were as children. And then you remember that feeding into...
Well, and you remember, I mean, Sansa really was a little...
Cunt?
Bitch. I mean, oh, Mommy, please let me marry my Joffrey. I mean, Aya's not wrong when she says those things.
Yeah.
But I take my hats off to them. But here's my question. Who were they performing for last week in the room when she finds the faces? Who was that to benefit? No one was watching that.
I was watching that.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying that's who it was for.
Oh, for us, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My point is, though, other than a misdirection to the audience, you could have just left it out, because then it doesn't make sense. The 100 complete 180.
The complete 180? Yeah. Here's my suspicion on that, is that they were so meticulous in their ploy against him.
They thought perhaps he would be watching?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, I would have never been like, okay, handcuff me, take me into the hall.
Yeah.
Never would have happened.
Yeah.
If she really thought that. That scene between Jon and Theon.
Loved it.
It was very nice.
Loved that scene. It was the re-emergence of Theon Greyjoy.
Yeah.
And while Theon has always been a little schmuck, the fact that Jon says to him, "You were more raised by our father than you were your father." Mm-hmm. And you're both Greyjoy and Stark.
Well, I think that the battle in Theon has always ultimately been him battling against who he thinks he's supposed to be and who he wants to be. And
I'll go along with that.
Because he was a prisoner, and then he goes home to see his dad, and his dad gives him, such a hard time about, did you lick the boots of your captor and blah, blah, blah. And fuck you, man, you're the one that turned me over to them. What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
But it was, I think, that final puzzle to Theon falling into place, which is to say, I can be both.
Yeah. And that fight scene that he had with Schmuckface on the beach.
Well, it was very symbolic. It was extremely symbolic. You kick me in the balls that I no longer have. And it's like he's taken empowerment over all of the things that Ramsay Bolton did to him and said, I'm not a victim to that anymore. I shall use that as a source of strength.
And he did.
My balllessness shall propel me forward.
Power to the ballless.
I don't think that's a thing.
Let's not make it a thing.
Yeah, the line that he said, I can't forgive you for everything, but the things I can forgive you for, I do. It was fantastic. It was beautiful.
I loved that moment, and I loved the fact that we finally get to see some retribution.
Well, because even when Theon was with Yara and had started coming out of his shell, he still really had not had that come to Jesus moment with himself.
Well, and he didn't have to because he was still relying on her strength.
Exactly.
And this is the first time in the series, really, that Theon has been able to stand on his own and stand up for himself. And this was a great, fantastic way of him doing it. And there's that scene of him kneeling down in the surf and washing the blood off his face, and it was just, you could see the relief in him of, I know who I am now. Yeah. And it was great.
Yeah, it was very nice. Yeah. Okay, the scene that comes next, I think, are we going to call this one the atomic bomb surprise of the episode? With Sansa and Arya in the Great Hall?
It was fantastic.
Was there a bigger surprise than that one?
I was not surprised. Because I called that last week. Right. I knew that Arya was... If Arya hadn't been playing the long game over the past couple of weeks, it would have been such a huge disservice to her character's journey.
Well, and reading online, people made a valid argument, which was to say, in that scene with Sansa in the bedroom, she really was playing the game of faces with her.
Yeah.
Because the things she was accusing her of were lies.
Yeah.
And she's saying you did this, but she really didn't do it. So that is what the game of faces is.
Yep.
So did you see, right as Arya comes in and stands, and they pan the room, the ever so smidgen quarter smile uptick of Littlefinger's lips, like checkmate, bitch.
Yeah.
Except, what's bigger than checkmate?
Yeah. Throw the board in the air and say...
Pretty much.
No, bigger than checkmate is the fact that when you realize that the other person's not playing chess.
No.
So...
The other player's playing with an Uzi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The line of the episode, to me, is when Arya looks at Littlefinger and says, "My sister asked you a question, Lord Baelish." Mm-hmm. It's fantastic.
Well...
And watching him attempt to...
dig himself out of a hole.
To beg for his life and snivel and snovel and grovel, you could tell that it was not something that he was ever accustomed to doing because he was so bad at it. And it was glorious to watch him just...
Aside from the scene with Sam and Bran, where we have, that atomic truth bomb cemented.
Yeah.
This was a very significant scene in terms of cementing, or how about exposing, things from the past that we as an audience knew, but no one else in the show knew.
Yeah. Other than Littlefinger. Yeah.
Which is to say, number one, you murdered our uncle, Jon Arryn, by poisoning his wife against him. Then you pushed Arianne out the moon room. Oh, and by the way, you also were responsible. Because if Littlefinger had sided with Ned outside of the throne room, that would have been an exceptionally different outcome in season 1.
Wouldn't have been a show.
There would have been no show. It would have been done. It'd be like, okay, the Lannisters are defeated. We're done.
Yeah.
So for all his sins to be laid bare like that,
it was fantastic.
It was.
I won't say that it was as satisfying as when Ramsay Bolton died.
No, because Littlefinger's had it coming way longer.
Yeah, but when he's just mid-sentence and Arya just takes the dagger that he gave to Bran and just...
Well, but the line was, you told you told our mother this was Tyrion Lannister's dagger, and you're a fucking liar. It was yours.
Yeah.
Do you think that he sent the assassin for Bran?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Which is what that scene between Bran and him were about. Do you know?
The chaos is a ladder.
Well, before in the same moment as chaos is the ladder, when he gave him the dagger to say, like, oh, do you know who gave you this, or who sent this for you, or whatever, and Bran's like, do you know whose dagger this belongs to?
Yeah.
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 Brand
asked him point blank, do you know who this belonged to? And it wasn't a question that he was asking, hey, right. I need you to tell me this. It was
yeah.
I know the answer. Do you know whose this is? Yeah. Because I do.
Well,
excuse me.
The one helpful thing Bran has done all season, the only helpful thing Bran has done all season, you held a knife to his throat and you told him, I told you on day one not to trust me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not quite sure that, Raven visions would be admissible in the U.S. court, but apparently it's good enough for the Great Hall at Winterfell. So,
well, because you know why? Because no one in that room gave a shit about him.
Well, and not only that, but Sansa and Arya had both had enough of Bran's visions corroborated by their own experiences to know that he's not just making shit up. So.
No. Well, and I think the only person who could have even potentially done anything to help him was the guy from River Rock. What's it called?
The Vale.
The Vale? I don't know why I always go to, like, Lord of the Rings.
Well, because there's River Run.
Thank you.
And then there's the Twins, which is over a river.
I know.
And then there's the Vale. So, yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, so, no, very, very satisfying to see Littlefinger finally get
yeah, because if his dumb behind had been sitting on the Iron Throne at the end of this, I would have put my foot through the television.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Okay. Thanks for all your lessons, Littlefinger. We will not forget them.
I will not forget them.
We will not, I say.
What was it that Jon said to Tyrion about Sansa a couple of episodes ago where he says...
She's starting to speak her mind more?
No. It's just like... your sister was always more clever than she let on, and Jon says she's starting to let on.
Yeah.
And yeah, well deserved Lady of Winterfell.
Pretty much. Well, especially because for Sansa, when Littlefinger is trying to like really drive home the nail of separating the two of them, to say, well, what's her greatest, like what's the worst thing that could possibly be her motivation? Sansa, I said it to you during the episode. Sansa knows 100%.
Yeah.
Arya doesn't want to be the fucking Lady of Winterfell.
Yep.
But that's what
Littlefinger
wants or thinks that any person could possibly want.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to be in power?
Right.
Yeah.
That could be the only possible motivation.
Yeah.
Which is to take power for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shall we discuss the stupidest Lannister as per Cersei's analysis?
Let's discuss.
I always knew you were the stupidest Lannister.
What I, for about this much time,
thought he was going out.
I thought she was going to kill Jaime, and I was like, no, okay, good.
That's been building all season.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see, very glad to see, for Jaime's character, that he did it for the right reasons.
Yes.
Not because, oh, you told me you were pregnant and then I found out you lied and so now I'm mad at you or whatever. I mean, it was still motivated by Cersei's bad behavior, but for the right reasons.
Because in his core, he is a soldier and he has honor. Like, even when he has that moment with Brienne where Brienne's like, fuck honor, and he's like, fuck honor?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Well, I think his more so was like, that's a shocking thing for him to know that Brienne was saying.
No, that too, but it is. It shows that in his core, he is always the one to sacrifice, the one to make the tough call. You know, like, it was because of him that he killed the Mad King.
Right.
And it was him running into the face of a dragon to try and stop the war before it started.
Yeah.
Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, or in this case, damn the dragon's breath, full speed ahead. And that's, he's the type that finally he can be the honorable knight that he has always pledged to be.
I think that he's worn his, quote, dishonor as a shield against other people.
Yeah.
But I didn't ever buy the fact that it didn't bother him.
Yeah.
Because it did.
Oh, of course it did.
It did.
And he's such a good actor. I can't pronounce the guy's name. He's, like Scandinavian. But he's just does such a great job of portraying the turmoil that Jamie has always going through.
Oh, for sure. He is a very complex character.
Yeah.
He might be the most complex character on the show.
And I don't think the actor that plays him gets nearly enough credit for, he's always overshadowed by, Tyrion gets all the great lines, and Daenerys is, the one that everybody roots
Queen
for.
badass.
And Jon is the underdog bastard guy that everybody is, the good guy. And Jamie is, and always has been,
the anti-hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be very interesting.
So where's he going?
He's going to join the battle.
Yeah.
He's going to fulfill his vow that he made to humanity, basically.
Now here's my question. If they win the battle, will he have drank the Daenerys Kool-Aid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he knows that the fact that Daenerys and Jon were able to set aside their whatevers and come to that meeting means that they have the best interest of humanity at heart. And that, to Jamie at least, is...
Well, that was the reason Jamie sacrificed his honor in the first place.
Yeah.
Which was to save the common man from the Mad King.
It's going to be one hell of a conversation between Dany and Jamie once they get face to face and have him.
I'll tell you that scene between Tyrion and Jamie before he goes in, you already could tell like they are on the same side.
And they have been for a long time.
I think almost always are on the same side.
And it comes down to Jamie's cock.
Right? Isn't it always about the cock?
It's all that should have been the title of this episode.
All about the cocks.
The cocks.
Okay.
Dragons and wolves and cocks, oh my.
So, I will say, do you think Jamie thought she was going to kill him?
Yeah.
And he just didn't give a fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, I have stayed by your side because I thought we loved each other.
Right.
Clearly that is not the case.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do this now. Well, and if you have a problem with it, come at me, bull.
The betrayal, I think the ultimate betrayal, because she's been blowing smoke up his ass about it's just me and you against the world. Mm-hmm. It's just me and you against the world. Oh, and me and you and Euron, who I'm going to conspire against behind your back. Uh-huh. Because, I'm sorry, Jamie meeting Tyrion is not even on the same stratosphere as Cersei conspiring with Euron behind Jamie's back.
I absolutely agree.
Not even close.
I think it's incredibly convenient how everyone's the villain except Cersei.
You mean in her own mind?
In her own, yeah, no, of course.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
No, but I think she knows she's the villain, doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. I think she relishes it.
Because she hates herself. Freud, thanks. Okay.
Yeah.
The scene that bothered me, because it was too Game of Thrones, was the scene where it's like, we need something to happen. We're going to write this super convenient scene where everything we need to happen happens. Let's go. It's the scene with Sam and Brandon Stark. Are you fucking kidding me, Game of Thrones? Come on.
Warning! Exposition scene.
Warning. we needed it in the script somewhere.
Yeah.
We spent all our time and energy and resources.
Well, that was my biggest problem with last week's entire episode.
Yeah.
Was last week's entire episode, while incredibly entertaining, it did nothing except
set the stage.
It was just a huge plot device for what needed to happen to move forward. We were talking to Megan. If you watched our mid-year recap, you know who Megan is, the professor. We were talking to her just before we started filming, and that was one of the things that she was talking about. Why, if they knew that this was could have been, potential, why would they even go north of the wall last week?
Yeah, her point was, so if Jon had stayed home, the Night King never would have gotten an ice dragon, and therefore the wall never would have fallen.
Yeah.
So, good job, Bran.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
You shit the bed.
Yeah. So, while it will be very entertaining to watch, it does make people like you and I have one of those moments where it's like, don't be stupid.
Yeah.
But if they weren't stupid, there wouldn't be a show.
I mean, really, the show's dependent upon their stupidity. I will listen. That scene was necessary, but it was pretty fucking lame. But we still haven't had the grand revelation, and we did see a weakness in Bran, which is to say he has the potential to see all things, but he hasn't actually seen all things.
Right, no.
So he has to be directed.
He can go look for it, but he doesn't see. I mean, it's a huge amount of information that he has to sort through.
You mean like the entire history of the world?
Part 1.
Right. It was a little convenient. Let's just be clear. Sam wasn't even fucking listening to Gilly when she was talking. And now all of a sudden, oh, yes, this diary that I translated. But you didn't fucking read that.
Well, yeah, but still, it's, again, It
had to happen.
Yeah.
It had to happen.
Unfortunately. The way that it happened, I don't know that I could have written it any better. But
well, one would think not.
Thanks.
I'm just saying.
Thanks.
I'm just saying, if you were a great author, if you were a great storyteller.
Those who see, those who can do, those who don't have YouTube channels.
Exactly.
Fuck you.
Those who can write work for HBO. Those who can criticize, those who can write have YouTube channels.
Hey, I bought a Crows Before Host t-shirt. That should count for something. Anyway, so yeah, but it did give us the chance to actually see that it wasn't a forced pregnancy. It wasn't a forced relationship. They actually loved each other. Yeah. And that's been a fan theory for a very long time. And it was great actually seeing Rhaegar in the flesh. And his resemblance to the actor that played Viserys in season 1.
Yeah.
I'm not 100%.
It wasn't just him.
It wasn't him.
I know.
Yeah.
He just put on 20 pounds of muscle and it was actually him.
Yeah. And we actually find out that Jon Snow's name...
Edgar Targaryen.
I thought he said Aegon Targaryen. I thought he named him after Aegon, the Conqueror.
I thought he said Edgar.
Like Eddard?
Yeah.
He's named after Ned?
That's what I thought.
That could be too. We need to rewatch it. If you caught it...
What did you hear him say? Was it Aegar, or was it Edgar?
Yeah.
As in Eddard, as in Ned.
Eddard Targaryen. Ned Targaryen. Nettie T is what we're going to start calling him from here on out. No, we're not going to call him that.
It was an extra layer of super creepy that while...
Bran is talking about how...
Yes, while Bran is talking about...
Jon's heritage
and lineage, and he's a Targaryen, and then the knock at the door, and I was like, please don't ruin this for me, HBO.
They ruined it
good. Just let them have a beautiful moment of aunt and nephew sex without reminding us. That's what it is.
No.
No, but it was...
wow, that was great.
It was gross. But it was... very sweet because they're lonely people.
Yeah.
They really are. Jon has such a twisted romance with Ygritte.
Ygritte, yeah.
And, while I think he genuinely did care for her, you know, it was such a complicated relationship to begin with.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he kill her?
No, fucking Tully killed her. Or what was his name? The little shitwad 12-year-old.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
What was his name? Eddie? Tully?
Yes.
What the fuck was that little shit's name, the 12-year-old at the wall?
At the wall, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, no, now
Because he was like hiding behind a thing.
Yeah.
And then Ygritte and Jon have their moment, and Ygritte's got her bow out, and Jon's just standing there like, I don't think you're really going to kill me.
And she's lowered her bow, and he killed her from behind.
Yeah.
I think she lowered her bow.
Whatever it
was tragic.
It was tragic.
Poor Jon.
You know, and you know, Dany has been genuinely lonely.
Yeah.
Since Khal Drogo died.
Yeah.
And because that wasn't just hormonal.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
I agree, but it was super creepy.
So, yes, baby's going to come out of that, you think? I mean, maybe not that one, but, you know, I'm sure once they've tasted the forbidden fruit.
I see, now my suspicions and theories and stuff are all in flux. Because I, for the longest time, had thought that Dany wasn't going to make it out of the franchise. But now that we know...
that it's not Dany's throne to sit on?
Exactly.
But it could be her child's.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, Jon doesn't want to sit on the throne. I think Jon's taken out the Night King. But it could be Dany that takes out the Night King. I don't know. But I can see the bittersweet end to this is their child on the throne. But that's not breaking the wheel either. Two Targaryens related to each other hump and have a baby, and now it's the new king.
Well, we shall see. A couple of other things that I wanted to touch on. The look that Tyrion gives...
what was that about?
...to the closed door. He's either looking at it as... because that was a forlonging look. That was not
he was like, that he wanted to be the one on the other side of that door?
It was either that or this is not going to end well.
See, I think that's what that was about.
I think Tyrion. It was too.
I think that he knows that while it simplifies some things, complicates others. Because I will say, I wasn't real impressed with what Tyrion had to say to Cersei about, I never betrayed my family, or I never tried to harm my family, or whatever that line was that he was saying to her, which was his argument was basically like, oh, I'm still on the Lannister side, but my way of being on the Lannister side is to help Dany because I want to protect people. I don't know.
Tyrion, I love Tyrion. He's historically speaking, he's been my favorite character.
Well, here's another thought though. Up until this point, Dany has relied on Tyrion's counsel. And she's not going to be listening to Tyrion above Jon once their relationship is consummated.
Well, but Jon's always listened to Tyrion too.
That's true.
So,
folks, what do you think that face that Tyrion made was about when he saw them go in the room and shut the door?
Let us know your opinions down below.
Because that was because at the end it almost looked angry.
Yeah. And then he, turned, put his head down, walked away, turned away and stuff. So we'll have to wait and see.
Well, the last scene we didn't discuss. 2 scenes.
Okay, before we get to that, I do want to also touch on how great of a job the past 2 episodes have had of giving us those moments. Like we had the Tyrion and the Bronn reunion moment, the Podrick talking to Tyrion moment, which was great, and then the Hound talking to Brienne of Tarth was outstanding.
It was very, very well done.
Yeah, and her telling him like, all I wanted to do was protect her, and him finally admitting
I was doing
that's what I was doing, and that was huge to me.
Well,
so
the Hound has always had a soft spot for the Stark girls because if you remember, at Blackwater Bay, he's the one who rescued Sansa.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
He's the one, when he was like, oh, wildfire, fuck off, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
He went and got Sansa.
Yeah. I did. Now that you say that, I remember that. That's great.
So,
Good point.
Interesting. The scene with Sansa and Arya standing on the wall.
Loved it.
Where they finally completely had their guard down with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And we finally hear Sansa do that monologue that we've heard in the trailer for all thing about the lone wolf dies, the pack survives, and stuff like that, which was...
I was never going to be as good a lady as you, so I had to be something else.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I love that they now have... You can tell they get who each other are.
Mutual understanding.
Absolutely. It was fantastic.
Mutual understanding, mutual respect.
And now that we know that Jon is not Lord of Winterfell by law, once it comes out and stuff, I think Winterfell's in very good hands.
Oh, with Sansa?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, the lone wolf dies, the pack survives.
Yeah.
That's
great.
It's at.
I love that scene of them standing there and just so subtly it's like, I miss him. And then a long pause, and she's like, I miss him too. It was great. It was a really good moment.
It's got me in the dragon glass.
Yeah, no, I'm getting a little...
I'm feeling you.
Yeah.
Okay. I literally, the last thing I have written down is Eastwatch Ice Dragon. That's all I wrote. Because that's really all you need.
That's really all you need. Did Tormund make it out of there?
I think so.
I think so too. Because if he was going to go, we would have seen it go. And
I think he would have gone last week if he was going to go.
No, I think so too. But
because someone's got to take the message.
Yeah.
Except that Bran saw it, so that's cool.
Well.
So here's the question: Dragonfire is more powerful than... Well, I think I'm answering it in my head. So Dragonfire is more powerful than the magic to protect the wall, but the wall is only protected against the White Walkers attacking it or passing through it. But if we can destroy the wall, is the magic then destroyed?
I think the magic was built into the wall. And it clearly was because we saw them walking through it. So, yeah. I think it goes to the brilliance of the Night King to know that they were going to come after him and to just bide his time.
Yeah.
And
well, it was a total setup.
Yeah.
Like, he would have sacrificed... They could have climbed over each other's bodies to get to them in the rocks in the middle of the lake.
Yeah.
The Night King has lived in the Arctic tundra for thousands of years. I think he knows ice refreezes overnight.
Yeah.
So... But how would the Ice King know about the dragons? That he's biding his time for them to even come. How would he know?
See, that is one of the biggest problems that you have.
Who the fuck is the Night King?
That, I think, is going to be explored next season.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of the history of the Night King and what his motivation is. Because you even said it before the episode started.
Right.
What's his end game? You know,
what is he trying to accomplish? Like, zombie apocalypse? Is that really his end game?
Well, and I think that is really going to be where Brand comes into play next season, is looking into the motivation of their enemy.
Well, and one of the biggest theories out there about the Night King is that he was a Stark.
Yeah.
From thousands of years ago, but that he was a Stark.
Yeah.
And it would make sense that you would pick a noble person from the north to turn into your...
Protector?
Zombie protector.
Yeah. Well, no, because... Oh, so that they could... It'd be like, haha, fuck you, we're going to turn one of your own against you? Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but...
I feel like there's a whole layer of the Children of the Forest and the connection between Bran and... Because some people even think that Bran and the Night King are one and the same.
One and the same, yeah. I definitely think they're linked.
Yeah.
And I think that...
Well, we know for sure they're linked because that whole thing with the
him touching him and being able to get in there and stuff like that. So it could be that when he was in there, and that link through Brand to the previous Max von Sydow's character, maybe that's how he knew the dragons were there.
Oh, maybe. So do you think the Night King can see everything Bran can see now?
Ooh, that'd be good. I don't know. No. I don't know. I really hope that we get more depth to who the Night King is next season because
we're gonna have to.
Well, yeah, because this whole.
But first, George is gonna have to decide for himself. Let's go.
Very true. Anyway, this was a hell of a season.
It sure was.
Stay tuned to our channel here in the coming weeks because we are planning on doing some previous seasons retrospectives and watch-alongs and stuff like that. So yeah, this is not the last of it's the last of Game of Thrones that we're going to see for a little bit of time, but it's not the last of us talking about it that we're going to see because that's kind of what we do. In the meantime, folks, go ahead. If you liked our analysis and you want to see more, you can just subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking right here. If you want to see a lot of the other stuff that we're doing, plus recaps of every episode from this season, I've got the playlist linked right here. We will be back very shortly, and we will see you at that time on the interwebs.